we go.
Hey, hey! I've got coffee. Sorry. Hello again. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
So I got coffee. Sorry.
No, hey, look, don't apologise. I was just filling everybody in. Oh wow, I don't need to prepare. I've been preparing all my life. Yeah, ain't that the truth, Queen? Ain't that the truth?
No, don't worry. There's no preparation. So, everybody, welcome. This is a bit of an impromptu one. But me and Amy were going to do this at some point in time, but tonight's just as good as any other night. So, if you don't know me, my name's Reiki Tree, and I do this thing called My Spiritual Journey, which is season 2 now. Season 1 was about 20 interviews with people like Amy from all walks of life, from ghost hunters to witches to psychic mediums to lots of different people, paranormal investigators, everybody. So tonight, My Spiritual Journey, season 2, episode whatever now, I can't remember, Amy's Spiritual Journey. So, Amy, what we do, if anyone's got any questions, please wait till the end, because there's a few people who've been on. There they are. So, Amy, let's start right at the beginning. Tell me about your family heritage. Is there any sort of, hey everybody, is there any sort of heritage to do with spiritualism or working that sort of thing you can remember?
I don't think so, no. Religious, yes. Spiritual, no. My family has always been incredibly straight-laced.
Right.
Incredibly straight-laced. Both of my nans were very religious, you know, church every Sunday, all of those sorts of bits and pieces. So I discovered sort of this, I suppose, as I think most young people did who are in the 80s, by watching The Craft, ironically, that really, really bad movie, that really bad witch movie. And it really piqued my interest. And I started to look at all things Wicca, all things tarot, all things. And I never jumped, because I think the movie was enough to scare me, if you like, make me cautious, of not dabbling with things you don't understand, ever. So it's kind of been... Sorry, go on.
Sorry. Before that, so growing up, you were in a very religious family. Do you think before, when you were younger, was there anything you experienced you could never explain? Or was
always.
So what sort of things did you have? What sort of age? What was your youngest memory of something which was you couldn't explain?
Oh my God. Like I would always be talking to people. Like I would have so many imaginary friends that I couldn't keep up. And my parents just used to kind of put their head in their hands and go, you know, she's on one again. And I think everybody put it down to me being an only child.
And that was actually talking. Do you remember talking to actual people, or was it just your imagination? You remember talking to people?
Yeah, I remember talking to people, and I remember having like full-blown conversations. Liz, I think it is being recorded, darling. But yeah, I remember having full-blown conversations, and then just like random things that I could never explain at all. Like I just couldn't explain. Like there was one time where I was round at my grandparents' house, and I thought the cat had got on the bed because I felt something like come up the bed. And there was nothing there. Like she wasn't there. Just all sorts of bits and pieces like that. But I think you grow up, don't you, to shut that part of you off. You grow up to shut that part of you off. And I think that's exactly what I did.
What sort of age were you at that point?
What, when I shut it off?
No, but when you were speaking to people, what sort of age were you?
Oh, I was young. I was probably about 4 or 5.
Right. So very open to at that age, very open to anything spiritual, because you're still in development. And so did your family frown upon that? Because you said they're quite religious.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, it was not, my mum's not so religious. It was my grans, or my gran and my great gran, you know, religious. And I had so many questions about sort of God and things like that. And I can always remember being told, like, to not to question it.
Get in line. Get into the religious line. Come on now.
Get in line.
Don't upset the billion years of religion apple cart. Not allowed. Don't ask questions. It is what it is.
Yes, yes, exactly. It is what it is. And I can actually remember my mum grounding me one time because I turned around to her and said, I don't believe. And she was like, what do you mean you don't believe? And I was like, well, I don't believe in God. And she was like, but how can you say that? How she was like, baffled. And I was like, how can there be a God when there's so much hate in the world? How can there be like this all-powerful being that loves us and cares for us when he doesn't want to, he doesn't help, he stands by? And these are still sort of questions that I had, reason up until reasonably recently, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was yeah, as you say, get in line,
So at that age, you were attending church, you were doing everything you were told to do, and
Mhm.
then then you said that you sort of cut it off, no
Yeah.
spiritual, just there. That happens a lot. It's so strange. So
Mm.
during your teenage years, did you experience anything then, or was it just completely closed off?
No, completely closed off. Absolutely nothing. Um, it wasn't until sort of my late teens. So I was at college, and for some reason I was really drawn to get myself a set of tarot cards. And I remember going on eBay back then
Yeah.
when it was like dial-up internet connection.
Oh,
Yeah, they're showing my age now. Showing my
let's
age.
go back, way back.
And yeah, and I can remember reaching out to somebody who was selling a Rider Waite tarot pack, and
Oh
I
yeah,
can
yeah,
I can remember the image vividly, mainly because the box was purple, like the box was purple and gold. And I remember it vividly, and I remember getting into a conversation with her about how could I trust her if she was going to send the product, because I think
yeah.
this was before PayPal,
Mhm.
and I never went through with it. But then a couple of years later, we had a shop open up where I live that
Right.
sold crystals,
Yeah.
and that was it. I was off. I always remember having like a piece of fool's gold when I was younger.
Yeah.
But
The
this
pirate. Am I
spirit,
right? Is it called
yeah,
pirate?
pyrite,
Yeah.
yeah. But this crystal shop opening up was kind of the I suppose like an awakening almost for
Like the
me.
catalyst for your spiritual brain. That's
Yeah,
so weird. Were you drawn
yeah.
to it? So were you did you get the tarot cards in the end? The right,
I didn't. Not at that point, no.
but you were buying
Not at that.
crystals.
Yeah, I was buying crystals. I was
And were
buying
you looking
crystals.
into them? Were you looking into what they did, how they
Yeah,
helped, and all that sort of thing? And what sort of
yeah.
age were you there, Naomi?
Um, I was probably sort of early 20s at that point, early 20s.
Yeah.
And I got really friendly with the owner, and she was talking to me about oracle cards and
Mm,
what have you. But I
yeah.
still didn't at that point feel drawn to them. It was all about the crystals. It was all about the shiny, pretty crystals. And I got really into the crystals and what they meant and what they
Right.
did, which but there's always been, up until recently, there's always been a block, always, of so I knew about Reiki but
Yeah.
never really looked at it. I think the only thing that I did through that shop was aura readings.
Already. Yeah.
And I really vividly remember, because this is going to sound awful and like
No.
real,
No.
pull me.
No. No.
But
No.
I've never been good at anything in my life. I've always been run of the mill, average.
Nothing wrong
Um,
with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was doing this reading, using my skills, if you
Yeah.
like, that I'd just been taught. And I can remember just seeing this black mass in the chest. And when I had finished, both the person I was reading for and the tutor were stood there kind of open mouthed. And I was like, okay, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? And it turned out that she had a heart attack, as in the woman I was reading for, but she hadn't told anybody. She hadn't told anybody apart from the woman the woman who was running this course. But I can remember it freaked me out enough that I shut the door again. I shut the door and I was just like, no, do you know what? I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. Um,
What drew you to doing that course anyway? What was the reason for doing that course? Was it because of the crystals? Because aura reading It's not an easy thing to do, and it
No.
takes practice to do it. And this is during the course you saw this black mass.
Yeah. It was really weird. It was really weird. And I saw other colours as well. I think I can remember like red around her feet, which grounding and all sorts. But I honestly don't know. I just felt a pull to do it. I can't really explain it any more than that, in the fact of I saw it and I wanted to do it. I didn't know anything about it before that point, had no clue.
And do you still do all the readings now?
No, I don't. It is something that I want to get back into, but I shut that door so long ago. And I wouldn't ever want to. The one thing I've seen so much on this app of ego and people doing things that they shouldn't be, that I would never do that. I want to make sure that what I'm doing, I'm sound in the knowledge of doing.
I totally understand that. Totally right.
But it's so after that point I met my ex-husband, and I met somebody who did crystal healing. I thought, brilliant. So, and it was at that point I bought my first tarot set. I must have been mid-20s by that point, so I was starting to push my late 20s. I bought my first tarot set. I've still got it upstairs. Never touched it. Never taken it out of the box. Not ever. I know.
Hang on, Craig David. Rewind. So you've never ever back to the 90s. You've never ever taken that deck out.
Never.
Not once used it.
Not once.
Why? I've got to ask why.
You have. And this is going to sound awful and incredibly weak on my part. My ex-husband decided in his infinite wisdom to take the piss. The house was becoming more and more full with crystals. I'd bought oracle cards. I'd bought this deck of tarot. And it was one throwaway comment that he made that I stopped dead in my tracks, absolutely dead in my tracks. I put the cards away, I put the books away, I put my crystals away, most of them, not all of them. I couldn't bear to part with them. And I shut that door. I shut that door down, and that was it for me.
Why do you think that is? Is it because of your ex-husband? If you don't mind talking about it, if you don't have to, if you don't want to.
No, that's fine.
Is it because you're such a negative energy, or did you feel that energy? Because you've got all these crystals in your home, you're pushing forward in what you want to do. You're feeling comfortable in your own skin, which is one of the biggest things in the spiritual world, is to feel comfortable in your own skin, to feel like you belong to yourself and to what you do. But can you tell me the comment, or do you not want to say that?
I can't. Do you know what? I can't even remember it now. I can't even. But I can remember the way it made me feel, and it was almost like he was laughing at me. And at the time, I couldn't really put my finger on it. Like everybody sat there and they were like, "Oh, you're an only child. You just need you need the edges knocked off you. You need the spots knocked off you, sort of thing." And I was like, "It feels like it's more than that. It feels like it's more than that." I didn't up until recently, and the thing about me, Matt, is when I do something, certainly sort of since my divorce and what have you, when I do something, I go headlong into it. Like I am a typical Taurian. I'm charging in, get out of my way, or join me. You've got two choices. I'm either going through you or you're coming with me. So I did some past life stuff. I did some past life regression with a woman on here and on Instagram called Jo. She's the Spiritual Gateway. So
is this just sorry to rewind you a little bit. So you were because you're talking about this deck of tarot cards.
Yeah.
So what's the reason why you won't use them? Is there a particular reason? Is it because you think it's bad juju, the energy, because of the situation, or you just like
I just don't vibe with them. I just don't vibe with them. So my story jumps around a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I just don't vibe with them. So I bought oracle cards, I bought crystals, and all of it. So as I say, I put it all away.
So you put it all away, and you're still with your husband at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And
how does that make you feel?
awful. Like I felt like I'd lost a part of myself, like,
Yeah.
which is really silly because I'd never played with the cards, but I almost felt like I was denying a part of myself. But at the time, it felt the right thing to do, although it didn't feel the right thing to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, if you haven't got that support from somebody who's going to love you, then how can you
Yeah,
progress forward with having that shadow hanging over your head? And it must be the
absolutely.
hardest thing ever because, as everybody knows, you're probably watching now who works in the spiritual world. If you've got this yearning to do it, it's the most frustrating thing in the world when you can't do what you want to do and be proud.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, fast forward then
Yeah.
to about.
So you left it and left it and left it.
Left it. I left it for years. Didn't touch
Didn't go into
them.
any crystal shops. Didn't dabble once or think,
No, never. Didn't buy anything. Didn't touch it. Didn't pick it up. Didn't nothing.
all
Absolutely
boxed
nothing.
away, crystals hid away in a box.
Yeah.
Oh, bless them.
Yeah. I then hit the ground. So fast forward to about 18 months ago.
2 years, okay. And up until this point, nothing's been going on.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. No, you know, my intuition would kick in, and I'm one of these people that I open my mouth and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, what comes out of my mouth? You know, I'm like, how have I thought of that information? How have I thought of these things? You know, to say, you know, it wasn't what I'd planned to say even. So. But yeah, I hadn't touched you know, hadn't even so much as like read my horoscope.
Well, would you describe yourself, if you describe yourself in 5 words now, working in the spiritual world, what 5 words would you describe yourself as? I'll give you one. Empathic? Maybe.
Colourful.
Yeah.
Passionate.
Would you say you're empathic? Do you pick on people's emotions and feelings? Yeah. So you can walk in a room and can you just tell the vibe of the room if there's negativity? You can feel it like a cloud coming around you if it's bad. Yeah. Okay. So colourful, passionate, empathic. Yeah, we give you that one.
I honestly don't know. I'm not very good at these things. Oh, I'm getting bubbly here. Bubbly.
Caring.
Yeah, I'll take that. Driven, I think, as well now.
That's fine. Driven, I think that's fine. That's a good 5.
It is. I'm quite chuffed with that, actually. I'm quite chuffed.
Don't worry, you're not interviewing for a job. That's my stuff on the top of describe yourself. Yeah, I'm joking. Yeah, that's good. You need to hear those things because you've looked at those 5 words you said. That's you in a nutshell. Yeah. And that's what you do. So you didn't read horoscopes. You didn't go to Witchy Weekly or nothing like that at all.
Nothing.
Skeptic Peg, none of those business at all. Then what happened? What was the aha moment? The clouds opened, the sun shined down upon you, and you just knew it was done.
Okay, so this is kind of where my TikTok journey starts, if you like, as well. To say that I've lived in the closet for a long time is an understatement. I didn't even realise that I was empathic until recently. So I had my son. Yeah. And he was on the autistic spectrum. He is on the autistic spectrum, and I wanted to help people. I desperately wanted to help people. Yeah. So I made a deal with the universe, and I said to the universe, if you give my son the support until he gets into school without his statement, I will go into helping people. Which is exactly what I did. The universe delivered and gave him the support. So I went and started supporting at the college I was working at, which then transpired to me teaching. Yeah. And I worked my arse off. For 7 years, I worked my arse off. And one thing led to another. And I ended up getting hurt at work because I worked with challenging individuals. Yeah. And I got really badly hurt, and I got no support. From my workplace. And I can remember one day waking up, it was a Sunday, and I was like, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. And I rang my IRL bestie and was in floods of tears down the phone to her. And I was like, I don't know what to do. My heart was racing. I felt sick. I felt clammy. I felt hot. And she was like, you need to go to the doctors. So I did, and the doctors signed me off with anxiety. And to say I didn't want to be here is an understatement. I did not want to be living at all. I felt so low, and so hurt and so damaged and so broken. So I set up an account on TikTok prior to this one.
Yeah.
And I started down my mental health route of trying to rebuild myself, I suppose, trying to put back together the person that I was. And I met a beautiful, beautiful soul called Josh, who is on who's on the app as Puzzle Pieces by Josh. And he wrote a book, which I always have close to me. It's called Puzzle Pieces. And in that book, he tells his story of mental health and suicide and addiction. And he was actually at the Manchester Arena when Ariana Grande was performing.
Oh, wow.
Thankfully, didn't get hurt. But I read this book in less than 24 hours.
Wow.
If anybody is interested, it is linked in my bio. I would thoroughly recommend it. It's a brilliant read. But Josh and I have become firm friends. And he got into meditation, and he was doing this thing called Meditation Mondays. So I was like, bet, let's go. And then he started getting into crystals, and I was like, I've got a load of them in the garage. So I dug them out. And then he started getting into oracle card readings. And I was like, hang about, I've got some of them in the garage too. So I dug them out. But I didn't resonate with them. I did not resonate with those cards. And I can understand, because I'd be pissed off if I'd have been locked in a box in a dank and dark, dirty garage for like 20 years or whatever it was, 15 years. So I bought a new set.
What did you buy? And what text?
Oh God!
Do you remember what they were?
I don't. But I think. Oh, do you know what? I think it was Spellcasters. I think it was Spellcasters, which I loved. I absolutely loved. And that led to another pack, and then another pack, and then more crystals, and another pack. And then I sat there and I was like, do you know what? I want to buy a set of tarot cards. So I did. And everybody sat there and said to me, they're really difficult to read. You've got to know all the meanings, blah, blah, blah. I just picked them up and I read. And the more that I read, the more that people would come into my lives and on here. But I then lost my account. I lost my account, and I was gutted. I was utterly heartbroken, because that was like my journey of my mental health. But I've come to realize now that losing that account has Katie's just ordered Josh's book. You're so welcome, Katie. It's an amazing read. He is a beautiful soul. It really is. But he is just a genuine person as well, just like an utterly genuine person. But yeah, I sort of consulted Josh, and I was like, what tarot should I go for? I don't want to do Rider-Waite. I don't like the look of the images. What should I go for? And he was the one that told me about Chris Ann's Lightseers. So I researched it, and I just immediately clicked with them, and they arrived. And this is going to sound really silly because they're pieces of card, but the energy that I felt from them, like the moment that I touched them, it was almost like they were home. It was almost like that they'd arrived home, and that was it. It just
from there.
Yeah, and it really has.
During that period of time where you went and saw the doctor and things like that, if you don't mind talking about it, did you? At any point during that period of time when you were trying to heal yourself, did you, any time you feel there was a negative energy around you, or did it feel, sometimes the old expression, you have to fall down before you can get back up again, stronger and better, and redesign yourself and find the thing that makes you happy in life, which obviously is the spiritual side of things. Did you ever feel that during that point? Because we've all all of us have been there. We're at our lowest ebb, and and there's an old expression like Confucius saying, it's not always in the falling down, it's getting up every time you do. But sometimes it's so difficult to do.
It is.
Would you describe that as, because some people might say I had a negative energy attached to me, it was just draining me of all my energy. Did any during that period, did anything feel like that? Or was it just you'd had enough?
I just had enough. I think rather than there being a negative energy, I think I didn't realize at that point that I was empathic. So I was letting people just consistently take my energy, and I wasn't replenishing. I wasn't, I had no idea about grounding. I had no idea about, meditating. I had no idea about protecting I had idea about protecting myself because of the crystals, but not in terms of
meditation and doing that.
Exactly. So I had absolutely no idea, and I think it was more the fact of I had no energy. I had nothing inside of me to give, and it doesn't help that my then boss wasn't the best, and a lot of trauma as well from like the past and past lives that I've since learnt about. It just, I think it was a perfect storm more than there being like a negative energy. I think I was my own undoing.
And I think everybody in life has had that point where you have to fall down before you can get back up again. Without shadow. So you met Josh. Did Josh sort of change your perspective on things?
Oh, totally.
And how did you find Josh? How did you find him?
He found me. So
how did he find you?
So I come on here to do a live Monday through Friday, 5:45. That used to be my slot. So over the second lockdown and the third lockdown and the 16th lockdown that we went through, one of the things that I found that worked really well with my students in the first lockdown was I wasn't able to get them to learn, and rightly so, because it's their home. So what I would do is, rather than run my lessons, I would run a drop-in for them just to come and see a familiar face and share their, whatever they needed to that day. So I started to do that on my other account. I started to run a regular slot where people could just come and vent, or just be. They could be themselves. They didn't have to pretend, and that grew. It grew from about sort of 4 or 5 regulars to I was having 80 to 90 regular people coming in my live. Some just to sit and listen, some to vent. And Josh, I met Josh through that. He bounced into my live one day and he was just like, "Hi, I'm Josh." And you know me, I'll chat to anybody. So I was like, "Oh, hi, Josh. Tell us something about yourself. Safe space, etc., etc." And he was like, "Oh, I've got a book, and promoting that and blah blah blah, and building a brand." And I was like, "Brilliant. Share the link. I'll buy it," which I did. And it kind of went from there. We as a community helped get him to 1K, and we as a community would be in his lives and he would be in our lives, and it just grew from there. And I'm so grateful that he did. I mean, it's one of those things about fate, isn't it? Fate is, he entered my life at exactly the right time. Any later than that, it might have been too late. Any earlier than that, I wouldn't have been receptive. To say that boy saved me in a number of ways, he absolutely did. And sharing his story as well, to share your story where you're on the ground and you don't, you know, you don't want to pick yourself up. But also, so, you know, Josh is the person that I go to, you know, when I'm like, oh, what do I do with this? Or how, and I say we've grown together, you know. Josh has far surpassed me, but it's been a pleasure watching him, for one, but for two, you know, he's very much like me, you know. Like when I say he hits the ground running and he runs for it, he really does. And we've kind of gone different paths now. You know, he's gone Reiki, and I think he's doing angel Reiki now, and what have you. Whereas I've kind of gone tarot and rune stones, and, you know, going to be looking into mediumship and stuff. But it's and it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this and so passionate about the community, because spiritualism saved me. It saved my life. This is a path that I should have been on years ago, years ago, and wasn't, for a whole host of reasons. But now I'm stronger. Now I'm able to build myself up, and I've met so many amazing people on my journey. And it's, I'm not sure I understand. Oh, Siri, sorry, bear with. Let me take my watch off. It does that to me in lessons as well. I'm in the middle of teaching something, and it's like, I don't understand. I'm like, no, I don't understand either.
Oh, Josh seems, if I'm not putting that, Josh is your spiritual kid that unlocked you to go on a career which has been subdued so many different times, but never had met your full potential. So 18 months ago, now you're 18 months into your now reaching your potential. So let me ask you this question. You're brand new. You're starting to read cards. What's your top 3 tips to give somebody who wants to read cards? Well, what top 3 tips would you give them?
Top 3 tips.
And this is your opinion, because my spiritual journey is your opinion, and what everybody else thinks is yours. So, rightly or wrongly, it's what you think.
Yeah. So, I think my first one would be to never let anybody dull your light. Okay. I've been there, I've done that, you know, and if you want to explore something as a medium or as a practice, then do it. You know, there is so many different things out there, so many different routes out there, so many wonderful avenues. Like, find what resonates with you.
Okay, number 2. So you get your new deck of cards. What would you say to the number 2 people should do? Now, here's the question. The question. This will cause not controversy, but I don't care. So if people buy their deck of cards, some will say, you just don't ever read the guidebook. You know what? These guys are going to start with me. Or some people go, do you know what? It's your deck of cards. Learn how you think, learn best. Try and use your intuition and build yourself up to learn how to do it properly.
Exactly.
What's your thoughts?
Now I throw the guidebook away. The only thing I do is I read a bit about the creator, because that's a nice thing to do, right? And how they recommend working with the cards, because it's their product, right?
It's their product. You don't have to use the book, you can use your intuition.
Exactly. Exactly. So I always do that as a little bit of a homage, if you like, to the creator.
There's always something behind the deck of cards they've designed for some reason.
Exactly. But then I put the guidebook away. But when I first started, I did use the guidebook, and I think it's the way I see it is it's a little bit like training wheels on a bike. It's a bit like stabilizers. If that is what makes you feel comfortable to get going, then do it. You know, it's there are some people that I know. So Paddy's Perspective Tarot on here. Love the guy. He knows all of the cards inside out, back to front, upside down, and every other which way. And I can sit there and go, right, Paddy, what's the, I don't know, 5 of Pentacles or something, and he'll be able to sit there and reel it off. But he also reads intuitively, so you can do both.
So it's a bit of both, really. So we take that as tip number 2. You can use a guidebook, but follow your own path and how you feel comfortable. Just don't do
Yeah,
reading
absolutely.
whilst reading the guidebook on lives.
Absolutely.
Do
That's
yourself a
cringe.
favour
That
and
is
don't charge
cringe.
for it.
I've
Please
seen a
don't charge
couple of
for it.
people do that.
Anyway, tip number 3, last tip.
Exactly.
Learn to read
Exactly.
oracle cards or tarot cards. What's your last tip, do you think? What's the best piece of advice you can give someone if they're reading cards?
So I think the third one is treat them as, because they absorb your energy, treat them as you would sort of a member of your family, or but don't get bogged down with all of the rituals and all of the you need to do this and stand cross-legged on a full moon, you know, clicking your fingers 3 times. And but there are some people, like one of the things that my friend did was I went to hand her my cards and she was like, oh no, I can't touch them. I was like, why? And she went, oh no, my energy. And I went, I've got a selenite stick that'll cleanse them, we're all good. Like, you know, and actually my energy overpowers them. And she was like, oh, you're not keeping them in a box. I'm like, no, I'm not, but you know, I'm following what I want to follow. So I think that would be the thing. Treat them with respect, because they are, you know, they do absorb your energy. Everything in life is energy, but follow what feels right for you, because tradition is great, but you have to find what resonates for you. But also, and a Brucey bonus tip is number 4. Don't be scared.
We love a bonus tip.
Don't be scared. I was scared of getting it wrong. I was scared of picking them up. But at the end of the day, they are a medium that helps you help someone else. And as long as that is coming from a place of good, we don't always get it 100% right all the time.
This is totally true. Nobody will ever give it 100% right. And sometimes all you people watching out there, you have the ability in a reading to say, no, I don't understand that. Because just be honest with the reader. They'd rather you be honest with them than say to them, oh, yes, that was completely all correct, which it wasn't. So be honest with them. Anyway, we're coming to that in a minute. So,
sorry.
No, it's right. No, because I'll start otherwise. So do you do mediumship?
No, but I am about to learn. So I'm joining up with Misfit Medium Dan.
Oh yeah, swimming. Yeah, good guy. Yeah,
beautiful guy. Because again, I've seen a lot of people do it badly, and I don't want to be that person. And I feel very strongly when it comes to mediumship, you have the potential to help someone or break someone, because they will come to you at their time of need. Nobody visits a medium, you know, they wake up one morning and go, oh, do you know what, for shits and giggles I'm going to visit a medium today. They don't do that. There is always a reason. And when I do that, I want to make sure not only am I honouring the spirits that I'm working with, but that I'm honouring the client as well, the people that I'm reading for, because I firmly believe it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about the readers out there. It is about the spirit who have chosen us to communicate through, and the client who has chosen us to help them. I am terrified, though. I am not going to lie. I tried trans mediumship with TJ Higgs, like as a one-off taster session. No, thank you, ma'am. I like my body being uninhabited. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I've done mediumship. So sometimes, like with me, when I read, sometimes I will have people come through, and I think whoever's had a reading from me and somebody's come through, for me, the devil's always in the detail. If you're going to tell me it's Uncle Albert wearing a suit, sitting in the chair, smoking a pipe, you can jog on, because that's Jollop, whatever that is, because that's not. It's about the detail. Not everything detail. And I'll give you an example. When I was doing one, I said to this lady, I think it was Lindsay's mum, she hates fish. Your mum hates fish. I don't understand if she had a pet goldfish. And she told me her surname was Fish, and she hated it. So this is what I mean. So the devil's in the detail, and all you guys watching, go to people who've been properly trained, who, they're just going to reel off people all the time. Consider that all the time.
Exactly.
Think about it. Anyway, so back to you. So you're doing your readings. You're very passionate. I've watched your live.
Yeah.
And everybody reads so differently. But what is it for you? When you're reading for somebody, what is it for you?
I mean, that's individual read by read. Sometimes people need the kick up the arse, and I think people take offence to the way that I read. They really do. Oh yeah, they take offence. I've had the sly, under the radar. You need to tone it down a bit, and I've had the full on. You're giving too much to, exactly. I am who I am. I am unapologetically, for the first time in my life, who I am. I mean, I've got purple hair, for goodness sake. Like, you expect me to be the shy, shrinking violet in the corner? Like, you're joking, aren't you? But for me, it depends. It depends on the person that I'm reading for, but also depends on the person that I'm reading for, but also the energy that I get from that. Yeah. There are some times where people come to me, and I know full well they need a kick up the arse. Stop messing around. You know exactly what you need to do. Fucking get to it. There are some times where they need the slightly more gentle approach, rather than full on Amy when somebody's put 50p in her. Is quite often what they say in the comments. They're like, oh fucking hell, who's put 50p in Amy now? Jesus Christ. But yeah, sometimes they need the more gentle approach. So I feel the energy. I feel the energy, and I trust my intuition. I trust what my gut is telling me at that time, and and how to go for it. And quite often people will come to me and they'll be like, I need you to do an Amy on me. Brilliant. All right, what have you done or not done? But yeah, so it's.
So do you work with spirit guides? Have you got spirit guides?
I have. I have.
Okay.
I mean,
how many have you got?
I've got two guides that I've met briefly.
Right. Have you got one you work with?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you mind telling me who that is?
No, that's fine. He's an ex-husband from a previous life, would you believe? Oh, no. No. And this is a new revelation. I've always known I've had two energies around me, one feminine and one
You're an ex-husband from a previous life.
Well, I think
I love it.
So
how do you feel about that? Do you
it creeped me out to start with. Sorry, Art, but it did. Now I've got used to it, and it was weird. So I did. I used TJ Higgs, Contact Your Spirit Guides. I've got a lot of respect for TJ, and Shah the Psychic, who is one of the first that I've met on the app. She told me about TJ. So I used that, and I met two of my guides, and I remember coming out of that sort of meditation and being really emotional, and I rang Shah, and I was in floods of tears down the phone. I was like, I've just met one of my guides, and he used to be my husband, and we've been married for lives, and he didn't want to lose me anymore, so he didn't reincarnate. And she's like, whoa, woman, calm down, like, chill. What? So he's Arthur, but I call him Art. And he's my main guide.
Do he help you with your cards, with your intuition, guide you in that?
Yeah,
so
he does.
He's going to be the person who's really going to help your mediumship in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I actually got to meet him, because I've only ever really felt him. I actually got to meet him. So I did some past life regression recently with Joe. And one of the very, very first life that I went back into, I was married to him. But he didn't show himself to me until the very, very end. It was I mean, he's a little bit Peaky Blinders. He's a little
like
bit
that.
Peaky Blinders with the cap. But I went through the whole he'd been killed by I think, although he still won't tell me he's a little shite like that, but I think he was selling drugs to pay for our life, because he'd lost his job.
Right.
And he got killed. He got beaten up and murdered. And it wasn't until the very, very end of that period where I'd experienced my death, because that's one of the things that Jo does, is you experience your death with her.
That's quite interesting.
And he came as, like, it was just his head, like, didn't see his body, nothing else. He's really secretive like that. And I saw him and I immediately felt the energy. I immediately knew who he was. And I started to sob. And I was like, oh my God, I know you. Like, I know you. And it was, he said to me again that the reason that he'd chosen not to reincarnate to sign a soul contract this time round was he was so sick and tired of losing me that he wanted to make sure that I healed and did what I needed to in my lifetimes, and that he would always be there. And it's really weird. It is bizarre, but at the same time, I know he's never going to let me down. Like, he's always there. And even when he's not there, he is. And he's always this side of me, which is why, I don't know why, but he's always this side of me. So,
because lots of people have different beliefs on spirit guides. I have two, one called Harry, one called Maria. They've been with me for years now, and I never let them go. Some people say that spirit guides have a mileage, and they come to the end of that mileage, they move on, another one comes through. But for me, like my spirit guide, Harry, he's not the gatekeeper to the spirit world. And Maria's more the person who helps me with my cards and my Reiki and my healing and things like that. Harry's like a Peaky Blinder, but I can't see, he has no face. I can't see his face at all. But yeah, and it's just the way it is. And he's my gatekeeper. Me and Maria just had an assorted affair when we were in past lives. So yeah. But there we go. So carrying on. So let's bring up the question now.
Go for it.
Before people know this, there's been a couple of, if you check out Reiki Tree YouTube, I'm not sure, you'll see an interview on there with a guy called James Buckley, because he did My Spiritual Life with me, and it was it was one of the most controversial interviews I've done to a certain extent. Bless his little cotton socks, but he came up with this phrase called feedums, fake mediums. Now, So what would you say? What is it for mediumship for you? What would you say is the most important thing? Now, James can do what James wants, and James is James, and he's never going to change. And from a personal over me, I don't agree with anybody threatening death threats to anybody at all. I think it's repulsive and immature and wrong on many levels. That's just my personal opinion. That's fine. And James will never change because he's got beef with every top medium in the country. They don't care. They're earning their money. They really don't care. They just want to they will just do their thing and do what they want to do. Doesn't matter anymore. But for you, I suppose the term feedums, fake mediums as he called them, how does that make you feel? And what do you think is the most important thing when doing mediumship? I know you're going into it.
To do it with integrity, to do it with honor, to do it without ego, to understand that I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel who has been chosen, has been blessed by that spirit, and that, to choose me. Out of the thousands upon thousands of mediums there are, everywhere, that spirit has sat there and thought, that purple haired twat looks like a good bet, I'll choose her. It's not about me, it's not about the money, it's not about it's not about the glory for me, as much as it's lovely to get the confirmation that what you're saying is right. For me, it is honoring them. They are not able to communicate as you and I are. So therefore, as long as I'm honouring them and as long as I am ethically doing everything that I should, that's what matters. You are always, where there is money, where there is ego, you are always going to get people that feel that they are better or worth more or more worthy of whatever. And I let them do them. You know, it's I've always learned, or I've always been taught, and I stand by it. You're never going to win arguments with people on the internet. You're never going to win arguments with people about religion or politics or any strong belief. So save your energy and vibe with those people that match your energy. You know.
So would you say that for you, as going into mediumship, would you say that this, for me, the devil's got to be in the detail?
Yeah.
Not the most extraordinary detail, but it's got to be the things that you probably can't make head nor tail of. Is that what you're looking to do in the future?
Yeah.
Because you don't want the cliche, Uncle Albert's come through. Did you have tea in the morning with sugar? Do you remember Peter Kay?
Yeah.
And I did the Julian Baptiste. Do you remember that? I'm getting the word nonce. Do you know what I mean? Remember that? So that's what you presume. And I think all the years that I've worked in Reiki and things like that and this world, the devil's got to be in the detail.
Yeah.
You can't just bring people through and go, I can get this person. It just doesn't happen to me. For me, it doesn't happen like that. Some other talented mediums probably can. Yeah, but I think you're definitely on the right track. Are you looking forward to doing mediumship?
I am. I'm terrified.
And Dan's a good guy as well. So which is
yeah, I'm terrified, but I am excited. This is conversations that I've had with so many people that they've sat there and gone, no, it's fine, you're protected, blah blah blah, it's fine. So I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to learn. The other thing that I'm looking to learn as well is to read Akashic records as well.
Akashic records, cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to that. There's a woman on who I met through Dan, who is Akashic Records and Healing on Instagram and on here. And she's got a course, so I'm going to be doing that as well. Yeah. I'm very excited. I'll share it with you, Matt. I'll share it with you because
I love that sort of stuff, man. I think it's cool. Yeah. So when you do your card readings, because you're dealing with people's energies, right? And have you ever had a bad experience reading? Because I'll give you an example. For me, I read somebody's card one day. I had it in my head. I saw it straight away. I saw a mirror, and there was a girl just on my TikTok, and I saw a pair of red eyes in the mirror, and I'll never forget. And I went to her. What have you been doing? And I said, have you been scrying? And she'd been scrying with the mirror. Oh, no. And behind the mirror, it gives me goosebumps just talking about it.
Yeah.
Entity of just pure horribleness. And it really affected me. I came off for about a month because it really affected me badly. And I said to her, whatever you're doing, you need to stop now because what's behind that mirror is going to take you over. Have you ever had an experience like that when you've been reading where just that negative cloud of energy or something's there, you think, oh, this is bad, this is not that? It was the most horrendous experience ever. I've never forgotten it. It took me a month to come back on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. No, not yet. But I have received a reading from somebody that left me with a horrendous energy.
Really?
Yeah. And if it wasn't for Shah, I would have sold my cards and I would have shut the door again and walked away because no, you're right, Will, I won't. But it's I haven't yet. I firmly believe that I have my angels on this plane, on this earth plane. Yeah. And those people who are my angels, they will know what I mean when I say that. So I firmly believe I have angels in human form, but I also have stronger. I feel, I know that there are more guides back there that
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
yet to discover.
yeah, yeah.
So I firmly believe that I'm protected. Although I will sit there and go, I doubt it from time to time, because I think that's only human, but it's a deep inner knowing. But yeah, I think that would terrify me too. I think that would
Yeah,
terrify me too.
not me for
Thank you,
six,
Santa.
really. So the future looks bright for you. You're carrying forward and doing what you want to do. You're very happy. I love watching your lives.
Thank you.
If you're not following, because I don't have many followers anymore, but if you're not following me, please follow Purple Moon
Yeah.
to Amy. Go follow her, and see her jump into other people's rooms. Enjoy her energy. Now we come to the part of the interview, right? Where we do the top 10 of things I do and don't believe in. So we do
Okay.
it for every interview. This is your top 10. There's going to be 10 things, and if yes, you do believe, or no, you don't. If you don't, or you do, I want to know why. All right?
Okay.
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 So this is the top 10 of I do and don't believe. I do this with everybody. So the first one is, do you believe in mermaids? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Because how the heck do we know what's down the deepest depths of the ocean? We don't.
So do you think
And
do you think stories that come out of mermaids are true, or do you think they have to come from somewhere? A
I
lot could be
think
said
they've got
about
to
the
come from
Bible as well.
somewhere.
Okay.
Absolutely. There is an element of truth in everything that is written. I firmly believe, even the Bible. Yeah. I mean, no way was Jesus a white dude with beard and, sandals in Jerusalem, but
Was
I
he not?
do believe. So why not?
No. Such a fucker for a good
I'm not
story.
even going
I'm
there.
joking.
I'm not.
No, don't, because they all start coming on, and I just start doing crucifixes thrown at me and things like that.
Absolutely.
Again,
Absolutely. But I do believe in the power of some of the stories in the Bible.
yeah.
And when I see like the horizon, or the light is coming through the clouds in such a way,
Yeah,
you can kind of sit there and go, that really does look heavenly. That really does look angelic.
yeah,
You almost expect there to be an moment.
yeah.
So
So mermaids,
yeah, I
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Okay, next one, number 2 on the list of top 10 things you do and don't believe in.
Okay.
Demons, yes or
Yes,
no?
absolutely. Where there's light, there's got to be dark.
And do you believe that possession can happen? Do you believe that some things that can happen be taken over people? Something can take over somebody's body? Do you believe in demons? Actually, like demons that are named?
Okay, so do
Break
I
it down
believe
for
in
me, Amy.
okay, do I believe in possession? No, not really. I believe in free will.
Okay,
But I do believe that there are entities out there that can manipulate, just like humans can manipulate.
yeah,
And I believe so I don't believe in exorcist style head spinning 360 degrees, projectile vomiting. But I do believe that we can be influenced, like we can be influenced by positive energy. I believe we can be influenced by negative energy.
do you think some people are generally negative in life? Are that negative, soul sapping, energy draining? You know, Colin from In the Shadows. Remember In the
Yeah,
Shadows?
yeah.
Like Colin. Do you think there's people like that who can just being empathic? You could walk into a room and you
Yeah.
could just be like, "Oh my god, this is bad," and that's not just
I
a big day. That's
believe
a general energy.
Yeah, I believe that a lot of that is mindset. I
Okay.
believe, and I believe that's a little bit like the human condition. A lot of that, certainly, what I've witnessed in my role as a teacher, and in like the account that I had
Yeah.
prior to this one, mindset is an incredibly powerful thing, and
Yeah.
I firmly believe that I believe our energy can be taken. I believe our energy can be zapped. I believe it can be manipulated. Full on
Yeah.
possession, I don't know.
But do you
I
believe
wouldn't.
that the forces of nature, there has to be good and there has to be bad? That's the equilibrium. That's the
Yeah,
balance, however bad it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. Do you believe number 3 on the top 10 things you did? So far 2 yeses.
Okay.
Number 3. Do you believe in aliens?
Again, yes. But
What's
what
your
hang
theory
on,
on that?
what are you defining as aliens? We're getting political here. Like, are you talking the almond green head with the big eyes and the E.T.
I'm
Frame Raves?
talking general a life from any aliens, through greys through to anything. Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Have you had an experience?
No.
Are you sure?
As far as I understand, I haven't been taken and probed, if that's what you're asking. Sorry.
Yeah. Is the word you're
Tone
looking
has
for
just
there?
been lowered.
Yeah. It's fine. We don't mind that. Okay, number 4. So aliens is yes, quite simple. Number 4, I know you're going to say yes to this, but here we go. Reincarnation.
Yes.
Why?
Because I've experienced it.
True. How many lives have you had, do you think?
Surely I've dated some. Yeah,
Who's that?
I've got, yeah. So I've only experienced 2 lives that I had. One was recent, was I think probably my last life, which was 50s, 60s, and one it was like 1800s, I think it was, and I was a gypsy. I would be very reminiscent, but I feel I feel that I was a witch in one of my lives, but I also feel I was a Viking as well, because because of the set of rune stones that I've just recently bought. Like, they vibe in my hands. Like, that is like an untamed energy that I'm not ready to release out of Pandora's box quite yet. But
I love Pandora's box. Yeah, so if you feel it, then yeah, that's true. Okay, so reincarnation. Next one, number 5, the Fae.
Yeah.
Ah, do you believe in fairies and the Fae?
I used to when I was little.
I'm talking now.
I don't know. Again, I think it would be very reminiscent of me to say no, but
what makes you hesitate?
I don't know.
You're going to get all the fairy. You're going to get all the fairy hate now. You watch.
I am going to get all the fairy hate. I am.
I know it comes out. Somebody just put no.
I think I don't. It's one of those things that I don't know enough about. I would like to believe. Let me
another way. How about obviously you're an element. Have you got an element? What's your element?
Oh,
Earth,
I'm
wind, Earth. So if you look at Mother Nature, because you know me, I'm a bit of a tree hugger. I love that sort of stuff. So if we look at elements and the beauty, nature, Mother Earth, do you think that fairies could not be involved in that sort of thing?
Yeah, I do. I think it's one of those things that I'm gonna be Switzerland on this, and I'm gonna sit on the fence, because I don't know enough about it to say one way or another. I would like to believe there are.
It's got to be yes or a no. So you can't sit on the fence on this one. You have to go no. No with more conviction. No with more convincing. Oh, there's no grey area. It's just yes or no.
I'm going to have to go with yes. If it has to be a yes or a no,
yeah,
there has to be. I believe in magic. I believe in the magic of.
Fairy haters will love you now. If you believe in magic, don't say there's not. Yeah, you don't want that lot on your back. They're ruthless.
No, I don't. But yeah.
Okay, number 6 in your top 10 of things. Atlantis. Do you believe in Atlantis?
Oh God. Again, I don't know enough about it. I'm going to have to go with yes, because how the fuck do we know? And if I believe in mermaids, how the fuck do we know? So I'm going to have to go with yes.
Yeah.
I did like the series though, Stargate Atlantis. Like, you know, that was a good series. Come at me, but I liked that series. Mainly for Jason Momoa. I'm just going to put that out there as well.
Stargate Atlantis?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes way. It was under the water and everything, mate.
Not that, just to make it perfectly clear, I just wanted to know if he was in it. Not that I fancy him or anything. He's a very attractive man.
He is.
Jason Momoa. I possibly would. Right, now, number 7, voodoo. Do you believe in voodoo?
Yeah, I do.
Well, original name, it was originally called hoodoo. And they changed it to voodoo. Yeah, do you believe in hoodoo or voodoo?
I do.
You do. Why do you believe in voodoo?
Because again, it's balance. Again, it's balance, and also it's a religion. Who am I to deny people a religion? Who am I to sit here and go, no, I absolutely don't believe in it? I absolutely do, because the thing is and I think Sue said it in my comments a couple of times. So I'm going to steal your sentence, Sue. There's power in beliefs.
Yeah, there's
power in beliefs. There's power in intentions. And do I practice it? No. Would I go anywhere near it with a barge pole? Absolutely freaking not. Do I believe in it? Yeah, I do.
If anybody's not watched American Horror Story Coven, have a look. Might give you an indication what it's about. Okay, so voodoo, yeah. On the verge of voodoo, do you believe in black magic?
Yes.
What do you think about it?
I believe it's your intention with magic, as far as I can understand with magic. And I'm one of these things. I'm jack of all trades, master of none, right?
I would agree with that. you master of few things. Come on.
I believe in magic. I firmly believe in magic. And I believe what makes it dark magic is the intent behind it. It's the intent behind it.
Is that where the evil stuff comes in? Because if you're it's like good and bad. You can talk to your angels and draw upon their power. Yeah. If you're going to go down the road of hurting people or hexing people, cursing people, you're going to get yourself in trouble eventually, because you're going to have to pay that back, whichever way it happens. Yeah. So do you think that voodoo? Would you say voodoo was good or bad? Because some people say voodoo is good in some ways, but in other ways it can be bad as well.
A bit like, I think it can be either. I think I believe it can be either. Like, humans can be, good or bad. Like, magic can be good or bad. Like, it's the intention that you put behind it. It's the intention that you put behind it. And I feel very much, if you have somebody who is hostile or who is acting out of revenge or isn't thinking about what they're saying, then I feel that exactly, Sue said it right, it's a tool. It's the tool. The intention behind what matters.
I suppose in any sort of thing you work in the spiritual world, you can turn it to bad if you want to.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Of course you can.
Okay. So next number out of the things, yes or no. I know you're going to say yes. There's witches, Wicca. Yeah. Sorry if you're watching. Witches, Wicca. Believe in that. Yeah. Have you ever done any spells, or you don't have to tell us?
I have. So I have my protection spell jar here.
Because I'm a big believer in nature magic. You know me, I walk in the trees barefoot all the time and go in rivers and things like that. So I worship nature like it's my god, yeah. So so you believe in witches? I
do believe in witchcraft, and I do believe in magic, and again, a bit like you, I feel much better when I'm outside, so
I love Mother Nature. She's just cool. Okay, so do you believe in ghosts? I think you're going to say yes to this.
Absolutely.
And have you seen one?
No, but I felt one.
You felt?
Not as in Hong Kong, right? But
Incubus.
No. Like I felt I felt the presence, and I suppose when people say,
where was it? Who do you think it was?
I don't know. So I was at Hellfire's Caves.
Where's that Hellfire's? That's down in
High Wycombe.
High Wycombe, yeah. Oh, dodgy. A lot of energy.
Oh my God, you have never seen me move so fast, right? I swear to God, this thing went through me. I kid you not. So we had a medium with us because it was a paranormal thing.
Yeah, ghost event, yeah.
I was actually on a date. I was on a date with a guy as well. His brother was the paranormal investigator, and I was like, yeah, I'll go.
To be fair, that's a fairly good day. That's usually imagination, isn't it?
It is. Although not so much afterwards. So we were at the very, very end. So Hellfire's Caves is this like tunnel, if you like, with lots of little rooms, and we were at the very, very end, and there was this humongous stone circle in the middle with lots of really creepy mannequins around the outside, and this monkey in the middle. I will never forget it until the day I die. It had a little hat.
What the hell puts a monkey in there? Who does that?
Who does? It wasn't a real monkey, I hasten to add. It was like it was a figure, yeah. So, because they were obviously like setting the scene of, royalty and blah blah blah, and we had this medium.
Was it Bubbles, Michael Jackson?
It might have been Bubbles. It looked like Bubbles the monkey.
That's the monkey.
It's fucking terrifying, mate, is all I can tell you. So we had this medium with us, as everybody did, and
Yeah.
I remember, like, it's weird the things you remember. She was deaf, so she was using a pendulum to communicate a lot of the time, and this pendulum was going absolutely batshit crazy. It was swinging backwards and forwards, and she could not understand what this spirit meant. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, apart from the perpetual motion, if you like, it stopped violently swinging, this thing. And I saw, like, I use the term lightly, like this black outline. Bear in mind the whole place was black, and it went straight through me. Right, I kid you not, and it knocked the monkey flying off the table. Oh, I have never moved so fast in my entire life, like, ever. Like, and I refused to go back in after that. I was just chasing the bats with the radar after that. That was as far as I had gone. Oh my God.
It's fascinating how things, but you still question it though, don't you? That's
healthy questioning, and I think a lot of that is it's
number right. This is the big one.
Oh God!
Every season, this is the one. This is the one that people go, oh no, and I'm thinking you're lying, because I love this. This is me. Okay, number 10 on the top 10 things you do and don't believe in.
Okay.
Do you believe in Bigfoot? I'm serious. Cryptozoology. Do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you think they exist?
Yes, I do. Do I believe it was like a Sasquatch thing? No. Do I believe it was some sort of humongously big-footed animal? Yes.
If you saw me, I'm 6'2" and I have massive size 12. You saw me walking through a wood, you could mistake me for a Yeti or a Sasquatch. So, don't me believe.
I love that. That's hilarious.
I mean, this is one of my favourite ones. I love looking for Bigfoot. I mean, it's one of my favourite programs. I love. So, out of your top 10, thank you for that. I do don't believe. That's 10 out of 10 that you do believe in. No no's, a few questionable ones, but hey. So, this is the part of the time of the interview. So, I know it's getting late. And you probably got work in the morning as well.
That's all right. You did.
So, if you're on my side, if you've got any questions for Amy, and we're going to keep it to a minute because obviously it's getting late now, and this is impromptu, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I love everyone.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant.
So if you've got any questions for Amy you'd like to ask her, then please do. Ask away now. If you're over this side, please, be great. Please follow Amy. Please follow me. My account is on private, but I will follow you back. I always do. So if you've got any questions for Amy about anything that you want to ask her, then at the end of the interview, we're going to let Amy have her time to tell us what she's doing and where she's going.
Sure, no worries. Oh, okay. Gosh.
Okay, do you believe in Loch Ness?
Has Sammy just jumped over there?
Yeah,
yes, I do. I do believe in Loch Ness, because do I believe it's a Loch Ness monster like what's in the stories? No, I don't. Do I believe that it was some humongous freaking fish? Yes, I do. And
that's a big fish, man, isn't it?
It is a big fish. It is a big fish. Sue's just asked, do I wish I'd read cards earlier than I did? Sue, all the time. But I'm grateful that I'm on my path now. So.
All right, so look, Gary, bust the gut Gary. Do you know Gary?
Yeah, I know Gary.
Has she ever read a book? I don't know what that's insinuating.
Gary, yes, I have. I'm in the middle of reading it. It's a very helpful book. Thank you very much.
Well, what book is it? Can we know?
Oh God, Gary. I want to say it's the Erogenous Zones, but it's not. It's something else. Which, I mean, that would be a really weird book.
Did Gary send you this book?
He did.
Gary, you dark horse.
It's all
I knew it.
It's all to do with like anxiety and managing your anxiety.
When you said Erogenous Zone, Gary, I was about to say Gary. What a way to go!
Exactly. Yeah, it's not, but that's what I say. It's not. I can't even pronounce it. Gary, you're gonna have to like. Oh, thank you, Sammy.
You have to explain yourself, Gary, sooner or later. Justin,
I can.
typing me in Sensei, do you believe in the Century Brothers? That's me and Justin. We go Ghost Hunt. I'm sure if Amy was in this area, she'd come out Ghost Hunt.
I would
Let's
come
have
out
a look.
with something.
Let's have any more questions. Oh, spiritual. Scott's here. Spiritual gift official 2 has a question for you.
Go
Does
on.
she believe in herself? I didn't ask this shush.
Fuck you, Scott.
It's a
Fuck
bit late
you.
now, isn't it? I've just why did you put the shush at the end of it? You put the shush at the beginning. Then I would have read the question out, would I? Scotty. Here's a good question. Oh, yeah, you can tell it from your side, can't you? Will she ever change her hair colour, even though we love it, or will she be in 80 with purple hair?
Yeah,
I
I
think I'll
will
keep
be.
it, haven't you? I like the purple. I think it's cool.
It was a bet. I lost a bet to a student.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
It's a good bet.
It was a good bet. It
Okay.
was a good bet.
Question from Danny: where would you be now if you didn't decide to take your walk on the spiritual journey? Where do you think you'll be? That's a good question, man.
Oh, I dread to think. I dread to think because when I say this saved my life, it saved my life, and it
And
really
that's definitely
did.
not an over exaggeration at all, is it?
No, it's not. It really isn't. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting it right. That's why I'm so passionate about the way I read. It's why I'm so passionate when people sit there, oh, question, will I marry you? Merlin, of course I will. But it's one of those
days. It's a marriage proposal. Never had one yet. On a my spiritual journey. It's the first.
But it's one of the reasons why when people sit there and go, you know, you need to calm down, or you know you're too animated as a reader, or whatever, then fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am, unapologetically who I am.
Right, okay, thank you for that. Many other questions. Read it first, you plum. Oh, that's Scott. Thanks, Scott. Yeah.
So I've got here, was past life regression scary? No, Katie, it wasn't. It was emotional. Both of the past lives that I went to were incredibly traumatic and incredibly upsetting, but it wasn't scary at all, no.
Okay, we've got one for Simply Sue, who's done an interview on here before. She was brilliant as well. They're all brilliant.
She is. I love Sue.
Apart from the Buckley, still going to have words with him sooner or later. Who's been your biggest inspiration?
Simply Sue. God, it's got to be Josh. It's got to be Josh, because I mean I have so many people on here that I need to thank who have been a part of my journey. From you know, Sue is amazing. I've learned lots from her. Scott, yourself, Gary, Will.
You've learned nothing from me, honestly.
Mate, you sit there and say that. You know, I'm a lurker, but I think the one person that, Josh. It's got to be Josh. Without
Josh
him,
on TikTok.
He is. Yeah, his name.
I need to get him on for my spiritual journey. That'd be a good one.
You have to
send me the link.
I will.
So Josh is your big situation. Danny asks, ask Amy for 2 positives. She's always asked us. Oh, they're digging you out tonight, aren't they? Mum said 471. Don't change for no one. Scott says, will she stop swearing when I'm reading? Scott, pot kettle black.
Fuck off.
Jesus.
Let me consult the cards, Scott. They say no. Bye, George.
So let's have a look here. Hang on. Buster got Gary. Yes, ask Matt for 2 positives. We've done that, Gary. They're playing tonight. Who does she love the most? Sammy or Scott?
I love them both equally. And I don't believe that Sammy and Scott are I think Sammy and Scott are the same person in disguise. Have you ever seen Sammy and Scott in the same room at the same time? No, me either. So
are you saying they're a shapeshifter? Is this what you're saying?
He is. They are. I believe they're one and the same.
Scott would take full advantage of that. Joking. That's a joke, everybody. Oh, dear. God. Anyway, off we go. You don't know what you're talking about, right? Will's here. Will, I love Will. He's so cool. Would you do a lone vigil with a Ouija board? Oh, good question.
Only if you were there to protect me, Will.
Yeah, only if you're there, Will, to protect her. Laughing faces from Scott, and Sammy's out, monkey face, hiding eyes emoji. Which is it. Right, okay, so that's all the questions done, I think. So, Amy, this has been your spiritual journey so far. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And for having the time to do this is great. This is your opportunity to tell the spiritual world out there, all these lovely people in your life and my life, where they can find you, if you charge, if you don't charge when you do readings, and what to expect on your social media, where to find you. Just go with it.
Wow. Okay. So first things first, I will never contact you to ask you for a reading. There is no, I've felt your energy. There is no, I've related to your picture. There is no grand blessings. None of that. Yeah. And if you're Scott, you can sit and swivel. So I have this account. I have my Purple Moon Tarot 2. That I use occasionally. I'm on Instagram. It's all linked in my bio. I do charge for readings, but I also give free readings. I firmly believe in giving back. So a large portion of my lives on here are free. If I'm reading on here, it's a £5, and it's 6 cards, sometimes 7.
Yep.
I've started to offer private readings about 40 minutes, and they're sort of 12 cards or more, and they're sort of £25. And what's next for me? Wow. Mediumship, hopefully, Akashic readings, hopefully, and wherever this. I hear you, Iona. I will message you. I'm getting nagged for my positives, but I will message you, my darling. Actually, no, sod it. I will give them. 1 is spending the evening with you guys. And 2, today I got one of my students who was totally disengaged to sit down with me and talk about her exams, and we went through and we made an exam plan together. So yeah, which was amazing. So they are my 2 positives, Iona. You're welcome. But yeah, so it's really and truly Misfit Medium's in the house. Hey, you darling. He's another one you want to get on. Misfit Medium's amazing.
Please give me a follow. That'd be cool if you could. Anybody can give me a follow. I will follow you back after this. Honestly. I must get Will on as well. Will on and Dan, Will, all those sort of people got to come on and give their stories. Yeah,
absolutely.
So thank you so much, Amy, for the impromptu My Spiritual Journey. It's been fascinating. I loved your journey, and I love your energy, and I love who you are, because you're just perfect in every way, shape, and form. And yeah, people, please go watch Amy work. It's fantastic. If you're offended easily, then don't go in there. Come in, come out, do whatever you want to do. It's fine. But take it easy, and please spread love and awareness through the spiritual community, because I'm going to say it once, and Amy might look. Repugnant comments about death and killing people is unacceptable on any platform, and no way. And in some ways, in hindsight, I wish I'd never done that interview, because that's not the type of people I want on my spiritual journey, who wish death and repugnant things. However bad it is, you should never do that. It's wrong on so many levels. It's just, But there we go. It happened. Yeah. Hopefully that person will eventually find the light in a good way and move forward in their life with love and light. Anyway, thank you, Amy. It's been emotional. It's been great. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I'll be on for a little bit longer. Amy's going to go to bed. I don't know what you're going to do. What are you going to do?
I'll probably hang about and chat to
people. You're going to hang about for a little while. Yeah, hang about. Amy, you take care. Thank you so much.
No, it's been an honour. It's been an honour.
Remember, this is my spiritual journey so far, so you never know. You may come back to talk some more in the future about where you're going and what you've been up to. Yeah,
absolutely.
Take care, won't you?
Yeah, I will do. You too. Take care. I'll see you soon.
I don't even know what to turn this off now. Hang on. Oh no.
Has he gone?